Around 10:30 in the morning, I had, with my first cup of coffee, two of the churros from an order that me and my dad got as a to-go dessert at Tryon City Tavern yesterday. I saved one of the churros and some of the caramel dip that came with those churros for my dad. For later. My mom came over my dad's place around 11:20, 11:30 in the morning. To drive me to the Wegmans I worked at. I had a shift today from noon to 6 p.m. and I took my 15-minute break at 5:30 p.m. After primarily restocking the hard items section throughout my shift whenever I wasn't restocking the banana section of the produce department, which I always restock at least twice during all of my shifts. Even the ones that are only 4 hours long, such as the one I had 2 days ago. During my 15-minute break, I had the lunch that my mom packed for me in a plastic bag, a sort of brownish or beigeish plastic bag that was inside a paper Tai Chi bubble tea bag. And what I had during my 15-minute break was 2 things of spicy mayo, sushi, 2 packs of that, pre-made by Wegmans. I had that with a 16-ounce bottle, fluid ounce bottle of brine dairy whole milk. Today was the last day of a coworker I was familiar with, who was a manager at our store. The store I currently work at. Assistant manager. And now he's going to have the same role. At a different store. A sort of out of the way party was thrown at one point. I recall around somewhere between 2 and 3 p.m. After taking a 5-minute bathroom break. Oh, these breaks being unofficial. I was told that I saw that there was cookie cake. I was told I could have a big piece of it, which I bid at. In the break room. That was perfectly fine with him, even though I wasn't on break. And that was kind of him. That cookie cake was pretty delicious. I also saw at some point there's some regular cake. Vanilla, from what I recall. Perhaps it was one of those half vanilla, half chocolate cakes. I saw that cake was had later. I don't know if it was as part of the last day party. but it was had later on. But I chose not to have any of it. As by that point, I had already had that piece of cookie cake. I had the sushi and milk to eat. And I didn't really need it. And my dad picked me up about 10 minutes after I ended my shift. While I was sitting in the break room. He technically picked me up, though in that way, my shift was immediately followed by me following him for a brief grocery shopping trip at the Wegmans I work at, during which I recall he got this sausage, the asparagus, and these carrots. I specifically requested the carrots to have some more healthy vegetables, followed immediately by us making a stop at the Salty Bread Pizza Cafe by his place, which was where we got this loaf of salty French bread from. I recall having 2 full cups of plain coffee and a partial third cup, about a third of a cup, roughly from 10:30 in the morning to about 11:15 in the morning. I think the last full cup and the partial cup I had to sip at pretty quickly, quicker than I would have otherwise had I had more time. Such as if I didn't have to work today, but the plain coffee was still enjoyable. I recall today it was overcast, the clouds being kind of grayish, light grayish. And there was some rain at some points today. But it didn't really bother me. I wasn't depressed by it being overcast and the colors being kind of dulled as a result. And I don't mind being rained on a little. During my shift today, a few coworkers noticed and commented on my haircut, saying that it looked good, and I thank them for that. There are also 2 points in which I was informed that it was kind of windy outside. I was told once by a coworker and another time by a passing customer. And the coworker I mentioned, I was familiar with. It was a different coworker from the one that was being transferred after today, and that we had the kind of party for. I recall holding onto the Tai Chi bubble tea paper bag during that brief, right after work grocery shopping trip that my dad and I went on, and bringing that bag home to use that bag and the plastic bag inside of it in the future to pack a future lunch during one of my shifts at Wegmans, and also to bring home the 2 little packets of wasabi and soy sauce that I didn't use during my 50-minute break today. And that came with the packs of pre-made sushi by Wegmans that my mom packed for me. And then when we went to the Salty Bread Pizza Cafe by my dad's place, we got a pastry. I believe it was a cinnamon blueberry square donut of sorts, along with the loaf of salty French bread that we got from that cafe-like eatery.